Hey, what's up? It's your boy BobbySapphire coming at you with a Decktech video and companion video for my sideboarding article on garbagerollers.com. Hopefully you're checking that out. If you haven't checked it out, you should click the link in the description and read the article first. Or maybe you're not interested in learning how to sideboard, you're already an experienced gamer and you just want to see what someone's up to with their Boba Fett deck. So this is a version of Boba Fett that I've been trying, Command Boba Fett, to try out Bib Fortuna, who I think is really good, and is a little bit more angled to handle some aggro with the lower drops. I guess I don't have that many lower drops. I'm kind of a proponent of 9 lower drops, but I think some things that you'll see that are different from some of the other lists is like I'm really down on Cartel Spacer, even though the Space Start can sometimes be good. I guess that's the concession. I mean, is just like I don't want to play a Cartel Spacer into like an A-Wing or whatever. I had been playing without Jabba's and Shoot First for a while, but I put some back in. I know that like 5 tricks might not be what everyone's dying to do, but I'm not playing Jabba too many games, and I kind of want to hit Waylay anyway. Shoot First has its spot, but I'm not really necessarily worried about hitting off Jabba every single time I play it because I'm just going to play it so infrequently. Um, I'm not sure how good Bib is. I've definitely played a few games where he's awesome, and I've played a few games where he doesn't do a lot because, we don't have that many events in here. But he can kind of enable things. He can enable bigger turns with things like Waylay, and he gets us to Barrage and Change of Heart a turn earlier. And like sometimes when you play Barrage first, it's just the game. You can just swing it really hard. So being able to Barrage even on the 4 resource turn after starting like 7th Fleet Defender or Boba Fett following Bib, you can usually clear out 1 or 2 things. You don't get that 6 that you really want against aggro, but you do still generally get to attack with the thing that you're barraging. So that's just one of the plays that you can make. I've 1 Rook and 2 steadfast battalions to sort of concede to mid-range a little bit that I want Rook once in a while, but and this is a sideboarding video, so we're going to get to that in a minute, but you can see that like I'm down to go up to 3 Steadfast Battalion in a lot of matchups, and then I'm also down to just like take Rook and like use him as my ECL target a lot of the time. Change of Heart is really good because it can take big units, but also because against Palpatine, it permanently gets your guy back. Because of the way it's worded, its owner takes control of it at the end of the regroup phase. So even if Palpatine steals something, he can steal it back. And then we have another one on the board. But it's just good against some of these control decks that in general are trying to sort of stabilize and then play huge things against you, and you can kind of steal some games. You can also use it on a Fett's Fire Spray and then play your own Fett's Fire Spray and kill theirs. I guess you wouldn't have 12 resources. You have one out and you can take theirs to kill it. Is another thing you can do. So I want to talk a little bit about like when we lay out a deck. That's the way that it populates in the DB is like fine, but we really want to think about it in terms of like our curve. So like this is my 2 drops, 3 drops, 4 and 5 drops, and then I move Rook over here because of space. But then we get some 7 drops, and then this is all our events, and they're organized by cost, and then you have the sideboard, which I can talk about here now. And then, so when we're sideboarding in matches, you obviously want to have your 10 cards. It's a 10-card sideboard in Star Wars Unlimited. And what this video is going to be about is like having a plan on what comes in and out. But when you're playtesting, you could have a pretty large sideboard for things that like might come up. Say like you don't play against a lot of people who play Krennic or something, and then you face a Krennic deck, and you're just practicing. So you're like, oh, what might be good in this situation is this other card I have in my pile. I don't have a ton right now. I mean, I've kind of been playing Boba Fett a lot, so I've gotten a lot of experience with some of the cards. But one is like, do I ever want a Cunning because of Bib Fortuna? And he lets you play it for 5. Cunning for 5 is pretty moderate. I mean, its effects are really good. Tapping 2, bouncing a card could be really good in the mirror. So that's a card that I have over here. And then like I also maybe want 3 reinforcement walkers against some matchups. Like maybe I'd want to try that. I didn't mean to click that. Kind of a bad habit. So there's other things that I should have probably for the video like put like 9 cards in here. But really I'm just testing my actual sideboard. So Emperor's Legion, if you read my article, this is for control matchups where you have you have like 2 or 3 units out. You don't want to keep pushing units, but like you could play a fourth knowing that you're trying to push damage depending on the situation. They super laser blast, kill all your stuff. You can get it all back and kind of repopulate a little bit faster than they can. Or, maybe they're on the back foot and they open up and super laser blast. You do this and you rebuild your board. Consortium Star Viper doesn't fit in the curve too greatly, but because we already have 3 great 3-cost ships, but the restore and combined with ECL against aggro decks can be really swingy early, especially against an A-wing. If it's not a Tarkentown aggro list, we can ECL the Star Viper, restore 2, and ideally attack with it again the following turn. The Rook in the Steadfast Battalion I already kind of mentioned, but I want to just have more 5-drops for the Boba flip turn, so it's as powerful as possible. Change of Heart, good against unit decks that are dropping larger units against us, and like this second one automatically comes in against Palpatine. And then Reinforcement Walker, it's kind of versatile. It can draw cards in the control matchups where we kind of get out card advantaged by like their big draws late in the game. It's a big body that's a 6/9 that can be difficult for them to deal with if they've already used their vanquishes on things like Fire Spray. And then against aggro, if we can get to that late game, which is totally possible, but sometimes when you're playing against aggro, they're able to push you to like 20, 21, and they're waiting to draw the 4 cause I believe in, and if you just start healing 3 a turn, it can be really beneficial. So that's sort of what my sideboard is planned for this build. And what I did was I kind of gave versus control, we're mid-range, so we're kind of a dog to control. Put in a lot of cards. I'm not sure if this is how I'd do it, but this is just like I wanted to show an example of what I might do. I think the waylays are not great versus control, so I want to cut those. I want to go a little more aggro, so I put in the Steadfast Battalion over the Rook, even though, it's situational. It's possible that they play big Sentinels that are going to get in my way, and I want the Rooks in. So this isn't something like, I'm automatically going to do this against every control deck, but it's just an example of what I might do. The Super Laser techs are weird because I want to ramp, but also them ramping is really good for them. And I think them ramping off Super Laser Tech is even better for them than it is me. So I might consider cutting those in some control matchups and just putting the Star Viper in to have like more space to drop on 3 that doesn't give them their Super Laser Tech, and not even drop anything on round 2 at all. Again, the Change of Heart for things when they play, they might play their own Reinforcement Walker that we can steal, attack for 6, heal 3, or draw a card, probably draw a card. And then, we're just trying to be a little bit more aggro, but also have a bigger top end for the longer games. And so things that I think are weaker are like the Cartel Spacer, which is for some reason backwards. That's weird. The Rook, and maybe the ramp. But again, this is just something I want to try. That's what sideboarding is all about. It's about figuring out what's good for this matchup, reconfiguring your deck to sort of be a little more linear. So I want to be like a little more aggro and a little less catch-all. But I'm not sure about the Super Laser Tech thing. All right, so versus aggro, we're already pretty well set. Versus aggro, like I said, I want the Star Vipers in. I'll try bringing the Walker in, even though turn 8 is really late. We do have the Super Laser Techs to like maybe get us there, depending on the situation. And really, we just don't want to be in one of those spots where we can't heal anything when we're at 21 and can die to a for a cause. Some of the slower things, Rook, because I'm probably using my ECL base ability a little bit earlier in the game. Change of Heart is coming out because like they have all small stuff generally. I'm probably not stealing stuff. If they're playing a little bit higher of a curve, I might think about keeping it in and pulling something else out. The Shoot Firsts aren't in there because most of our stuff kills their stuff. It's possible that we want to keep those in certain situations. Like it does, we sometimes struggle with 4 health guys, and like that Shoot First can get us over the hump. And then Jabba is just a smaller body. He's got a big booty, but smaller attacks are not killing as many things. And even though it gives us a little card advantage, we probably just want to come at them with the heavy hitters. And then versus mid-range, we're already a pretty good mid-range deck. I don't know how we are in the mirror. I'm a little worried about having like so many things for Super Laser Techs to bump into, and not having, I think possibly resupply Boba Fett's could outpace us if they resupply and super laser tech. But for the most part, yeah, I cut a boss here, but I don't know if I would cut a boss versus mid-range. I don't think I would do it in the mirror, but like maybe against something like Luke, or Krennic, not Krennic, Tarkin, that plays a little bit bigger things that boss can't kill. We don't have that many events that I would want a Rook in here. Steadfast Battalion's still good because he can hit for the 7/7. And you know, if he's able to live through a turn, he can do it twice. You know, he can buff something again. But again, this is just a plan of attack, and this is how I sort of think about sideboarding. You know, you might not agree with everything I've chose to put in or take out. If you don't, I'd love to hear, because you know, I just got my butt kicked in a Boba Fett match, so I'd love some advice. But truly, what I'm trying to show is just like having a plan for the sideboard, knowing what's coming in, coming out in every matchup, and you know, you can do this just with your cards on a table, laid out on your mat, taking pictures, taking notes, because everything I've heard is that we're going to be allowed to have notes in this game. So knowing your sideboard plans before you go in to a match is really, really great. So anyway, this is just a short video showing you my deck, showing you a little bit about how I plan sideboards. And if you haven't read that article, please check it out, and check out all our other videos on the KTOD YouTube. All right, later.